hang out over an Axel server, over at the Silver Moon Den. I also host my own, which is called Chillferno. It's a nice space. I tend to make it, I would say family friendly per se, kind of like PG-13. But I tend to keep things very relaxed in the environments that I wind up hosting. And I like hanging out over at Axel's server too, because it's also a very relaxing place.
All right, I think we're good. Everything's good to go. Yep, we're good. My name's Axel Silverfang. I am also a streamer. We been going for a few years. Started back probably right before COVID hits, and yeah, I met these guys online. I met Joker first. We just I think randomly happened to meet each other, and then yeah, it's been ever since. It's been fun. We play VR chat, Beat Saber, sometimes some different Pokemon games, some scary games, just every once in a while. But yeah.
Yeah, normally during only October.
Yeah, just in October, yeah. I mean, you have to, it's a spooky month.
Yeah, you should do it more often. But, in the whole beating of and capturing of animals.
Wow.
Always got to do. He's always doing a lot of that too. Until Power World came out, the wonderful game where you actually get to shoot them with automatic weapons. Yes.
And then you joined us.
Yes, when you get to capture and shoot them. The perfect game. Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Hey, Pookie, you look one in.
Go ahead and step a little bit here.
The perfect
but
game.
This is something I've always wanted to do.
Yes, exactly.
Is kind of bring up ever since I came into the. I've always considered myself sort of a furry, more of an anthropomorphic type of furry than anything, just a human with animalistic qualities. And if you look down into it, a lot of people hate on furries, but if you look into it, you see a lot of those animalistic qualities and even speaking in the normal realm of things, quick like a bunny, or he's a bear of a man, or even effing like rabbits. Animalistic tendencies are always brought into human nature, regardless of what you're doing or if you love or hate furries to begin with. And even back in some religions and some.
Hey, Joker. Six was saying that they can't hear us on your stream.
Oh no.
They can't.
And it starts.
That's what we call in the engineering space a live demo.
Yes. You wanna this is take one, and I can't get. Why is this not? What is going on with this camera?
Let's see.
Behavior.
Game sound. Okay. Can I say something?
Something.
That is why.
Is it a different audio output capture?
Oh my gosh.
What happened? Well, why are you getting that fixed? I gotta fix this.
You.
I gotta fix this camera. I don't know. What's
All
wrong with
right,
this camera?
All right, you should be able to hear him now, Six. I am so sorry. It was when you don't switch. Wow, why is that one up? When you don't switch the games in OBS, and of course we weren't playing, Lethal Company anymore. Wow. But at least you got their sounds working on Axel's. But thank you for letting me know now.
Oh my gosh.
Before we got through the whole thing. But as I was saying, and I do apologize. I do. I agree. Even in a lot of other religions, animals have always been prevalent. Even the Native Americans have always worshipped animals in some way, shape, or form. And even though animals still are prevalent in our everyday life, it has still seemed to see people still see it as a negative impact, and that's one of the things I wanted to bring up with the FurrCast, is try to expose and kind of meld the worlds together so that people are not afraid to express themselves and to be themselves. You know, this should not be a situation where you have to be afraid to tell people how you feel and who you are, or come out of the closet, so to speak, because of what you want to be. And the people that I brought on today, you both go to church. Axel actually has a suit, fursuit, that a lot of the kids absolutely adore, from what I understand.
Yep.
Dresses up for trunk or treat. Go ahead and tell us a little bit more about the instances in your church with that.
Yeah, so it was a few years ago when I got the suit. Mainly got it for, when I wanted to stream and go to the FurrCons. But, VBS, or Vacation Bible School, was coming up. And I wasn't sure what I should do, and how it'd be perceived. But, might as well just, hey, if they say no, they say no. So I asked our VBS director, say, hey, I didn't say furry. I said, I've got this wolf costume. That's what I did it. I didn't say fursuit or, furry outfit. I just said costume. And, he said, you want me to, wear it, during each night, think the kids will like it. And, our director, she's crazy. I mean, crazy funny. She likes everything. She's all about having fun. And I sent her a picture of me in it. And first thing she said was yes. No hesitation at all. Just yes. So day one, day one gets there. I'm coming up to the church, pulling the parking lot. I've got 2 suitcases, rolling with the suitcases, and people are looking at me like, well, what do you got? What is that? And right now, she's the only one that knows about this. Nobody else knows about this. No other volunteers. Nobody else knows what I'm about to do. So, they also fed us, which is pretty nice. But, we ate. I went to one of the rooms, and I changed in the suit. And this is the first time I also public suiting. I've never public suited before. So it was a first for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a first for me. So I was sweating like crazy, nervous and everything. So I have no idea how they were going to react. My parents didn't even know I had it. They didn't even know I had it. So, yeah. So I get it on, walk up the stairs, and she sees me. Of course, she starts going crazy because she sees the suit. And the other people are just staring at me like, what is this? What's going on? And we have security there too at our church. Pretty much just people just watch the doors, make sure nobody crazy, nobody that's not supposed to be there is there. And that night, my dad was doing the security at the doors. So that's another things just compounded on top of each other that night. A lot of firsts.
Oh, wow.
And first thing people were saying, who is that? Who was in there? Who is that? And they were so cute because they wanted to know. And our director said, I don't know. It's a secret. They said not to. They don't want to tell. And also at the time too, I didn't speak. I was being silent because I knew if I started talking, they would know it was me. So I didn't talk either. I was just doing hand gestures and giving hugs and all that stuff out. Well, as the week went on, I guess they started figuring out it was me because I guess I have a certain walk or how I walk. And they came up to me, I think I know who you are. And then, but other than that, the kids loved it. I mean, we had some kids that were a little afraid, big, huge wolf costume walking around in the church. Some kids were afraid. A lot of the kids loved it. A lot of parents, they loved it too. It went really well. Day 2, I was more confident about suiting up and everything because the first day went really well. And then the very last day of the VBS, picture after picture after picture. I mean, the kids just wanted. It was great. They loved it. It went over really well, which I was really surprised. Again, they were just it was just a wolf costume. They didn't. Nobody mentioned the word furry. It wasn't just. I just had a costume. And then, so that was happened. So then we went to October was our trunk or treat event that we had, and I wore it there. And a lot of the kids that went to VBS came to our trunk or treat, and they remembered, who it was. So of course they see the suit, they yell Axel, just going crazy, run up to me and hugs, and so, I mean, it was very nice. Is why I was worried that people were going to be backlash and not like it. Even our pastor, that was probably the biggest thing. Is our pastor's like telling our youth pastor, telling our VBS director, what are you doing? What is this? Why is this here? And it was complete opposite. So I was very, very surprised. And of course, the second year we did VBS in the suits, the kids all remembered. They all came up running and excited to see me again. So
Did anybody ask why you got the suit?
After some people actually, my parents finally figured out it was me. So the first thing they do is they call. They said, was that you in the suit? It's like, yeah. they said, oh, well, why'd you get it? And the first thing I said was for my streams. I can wear it during the streams. And there is a redeem. It's not cheap, but there is a redeem, first to redeem. And in my streams. I think it's been redeemed a few times, but it's there. But yeah, so it was just for my streams. And they know that I stream too. That I don't think they ever watch, but because my dad always calls me while I'm streaming. It never fails. Every time I'll hear my because I have my phone on silence, and I'll hear it buzz, and I'll look, and he's calling me. So I guess he doesn't know I'm online. But anyways.
Well, I guess it's that and Roxy.
Yeah. But then
Not licking your legs. That's what your dad's calling.
Yeah. But that's what I said. It's for my streams. And they were okay. That's pretty much it. They didn't oppose to it. They asked me how much it cost, and I said it wasn't cheap. I didn't give them the amounts. I just said it wasn't cheap. But do
they know that you go to the fur cons?
They know that I go to cons. They don't know that it's.
They just don't.
Yeah.
The fur cons. Okay.
And every time that I go, like to FWA or different places, I'm going. I tell them I'm meeting friends online at a convention, which is true. I mean, it's not a lie. It is true. And they go, okay, cool, have fun. Stay safe. So. But I haven't had.
One of these days, they're gonna figure out.
Well, it'd be too like I'm to the point where I don't care. I mean, it's just people say, "Ooh, what are you doing?" It's disgusting. I don't try to call you names. I don't care anymore. I'm at that age in my life that just say what you want to say. I'm having fun.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you and see, that's a big thing too. Is a lot of people specifically use games, and if you are in games and you choose to be a furry, people use games to relax, escape their harsh realities, or escape work or whatever. Mm-hmm. Why be a human when you're escaping?
Right.
What's the point of being a human? So, that you also got that. So, Kendall, what has been your experience with being furry?
That's a very big question, actually. Yeah, it goes like back a long time ago because I actually had interests in it all the way back in like 2013, I believe. Um, a long time ago, discovered what it was, but actually just more like informally, I would say, because I remember a long time ago I was interested in a game called Toontown Online. That was a game that wound up being around, I think, back in early 90s or late 90s, and then it wound up sunsetting us somewhere around that time. So, around that time, I wound up just being engaged with that community a little while, and it was interesting to me just the way the whole thing worked. But eventually, I kind of discovered it was a lot more interesting just from the anthropomorphic aspect of it. I was like really shy around that time because it honestly looked very fluffy and adorable, and I wanted to aspect of it. Possibly give something a big old hug. But I didn't know how to express that. That didn't make any sense. So eventually, I wound up just discovering a few years later just for YouTube. That seemed to be very interesting to me as well, because you wind up having all these different people who are very enthusiastic for what they do. And I was around that time I kind of knew what a furry was, but when I saw that content, I kind of got more of a formal introduction because I was more or less just seeing it from other sources, if that makes sense. So from there, they had like a better introduction as to what the furry fandom was. I'd say the best exposure I ever had was Majira Strawberry way back in the day. So like 2016 was around the time that I saw that. But when I wound up seeing Majira Strawberry, that was like an experience because that was the first time I saw like a fursuit move in a video. And it had like those look at me eyes, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is different." And I was kind of captivated by that. It was very interesting, but I kind of kept that on the down low. And so that was kind of a thing where like I just sort of kept it to myself because I really enjoyed the whole aspect of it. Later down, as I continued to learn more, there was another, I'd say, YouTuber that had a big impact in my life, and I think that's JFest Speaks. So he created some videos when he would go to FurCons, but he would do it with a twist, right? So he would have like a 360 camera, and one of those things where you can just like see all around you.
Yeah.
And at the time, yeah, I had a Google Cardboard, and I was never expecting those two worlds to collide, but it did. And so I put on the Google Cardboard, and I was like, okay, what is it like to actually walk around? And I was like, honestly, like really excited to see everything. Because you got to be in like the first person of what somebody would be like in a fursuit, but also everything just looked like darn cuddly, and I was like, ah. So that kind of transplaced over there. And just for context, I've never told anybody about this whole thing until like much later. So much later down the road, I'd say 2021 or something like that, I start playing VR chat because I discover it separately. I hear people talk about how this is going to be like the next internet, and I'm like, this is really neat. And then I see furries use it, and at this point, I'm very well understanding of what a furry is, and I was also very deep into like the types of things that went on in the fandom. I even like just listened to the type of dramas that could even go in, and that wound up just giving me a whole lot of respect. This is a lot like the gaming community where they wind up being heavily misunderstood. So I was into that. I was into just them having just unfiltered love. It's amazing. So I finally got into VR chat. I was really shy. I was a mute for my first play session. And then I started to try to speak a little bit better. And that kind of gave me a lot of encouragement to keep on going. So as I wound up discovering more, I wound up being a protogen in this playground world. It's one that Axel goes into all the time. It's like that one that has the bomb diffuser.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's before they had that. So I found this one individual who was like a tiger bee kind of thing. And I was trying to attend this other event. It was called Tube VR because it's kind of like a dance party kind of thing where you can kind of just do your own thing and have fun. I was waiting for that, and she goes, "Have you ever heard of Furrality?" And I go, "No." And what she described is like it was a con in VR, and I was like, "They have that?" So like, I almost didn't think twice about it. I almost didn't bookmark the thing because it was kind of like a second thought. But I'm glad I did, and it also freaked me out a little bit because that was my first furry purchase. But I'm glad I did it. I met Moxie at the con. He's one of the people in Axel server, and then basically the rest was history. Wound up just hanging out with everybody. And with a community, it's one of those things where it's like, it can really help you blossom and feel much more comfortable into the skin of what you're truly interested in. Which for me was just, I wanted to just give hugs. I wanted to be able to be with friends that really cared, and that's basically where I am right now, and I'm really happy that I'm here.
That's good. That's good. And I'm glad that you were able to, find a community that you feel comfortable in. Do your parents know, or do your family or outside community know about your feelings about being a furry or within the furry community?
Yes, they do. So basically, it was kind of a requirement for my parents to kind of know that I was, because I'm still over there. I would like to get an apartment sometime, but as of right now, it's just not happening. But I'm currently with my parents, so in order to actually go somewhere without, just disappearing and not them knowing, I kind of have to kind of disclose where I want to go. And that was probably one of the most scariest conversations I've had in my life. And it's just for a lot of different reasons I probably won't go into. But my dad was kind of all right with it. He was like, he's a salesman kind of guy. So I told him, I kind of want to go to this place. He says, "Here's how you pitch it to your mom." I go to my mom. And let's just say she watches a lot of news. And there's a lot of disconnects whenever you wind up watching things and you don't see the resolvence of things. So I had to wind up being kind of the educator of things that she might have heard. There's a lot of things that wound up being misunderstandings, and you have to kind of go through it. It's intense because my mom's one of those people who want to make sure that like you're as safe as humanly possible, and I respect that. That's hard to do, especially since that she's used to hearing all sorts of signals. When you're like a mom, you have to hear signals left and right times like 3, because I'm from a family of 5, right? So you got to hear everybody's concerns, and so for her to hear all those signals, she's used to chaos. So I had to explain things best I could. It wasn't easy, but by the time I managed to get over to the convention and all that, she was able to understand things a lot better. I think she's kind of keep more of a neutral stance on it, but I'll share pictures of like things that we've done with Axel's community and stuff. So that seems to like calm the ground a lot more since all of that.
Yeah, now you're a cat.
That's good.
You've gone from a predator to a
and
cat.
I'm a cat. I'm a cat now. My friends know because I wanted to create a Discord server. I won't go into the whole reasoning why I created a Discord server, but like basically there was people in the Discord server that I originated from. They were slowly growing up per se, and they were moving on to college. So there were things that wound up just sort of splitting up, and there was a whole bunch of other pieces. We had a server created and then another one, and then stuff happened over there, and I was like, what if there was a place that would be like a good location for everybody to hang out in? So I kind of created more of a general purpose Discord server. So the reason why I mentioned that is that's how more of my friends slowly discovered I was a furry. I wound up having friends come in. I didn't tell anybody I was making anything, like literally no one. First, I have somebody completely random come in my Discord server, and then Moxie shows up. And then a friend of mine shows up. So there's like two different worlds that wind up slowly colliding, and I'm starting to freak out a little bit. But time progresses, and eventually people find out that I'm a furry. I was scared half to death during the whole ride, but I think that was probably the best transition I probably could have done, because then you have people that were able to kind of understand each other. And it makes me happy because if you have a community that has a mixture of
Chris,
both
hello.
furries and non-furries,
How
you kind of
doing?
get that blend where if you have a stigma on one side that doesn't understand it, they can actually see people firsthand who are from that community, and it helps like calm things down, I think. So that's my goal with that area, and it's made me very happy.
That's good. That's a good that you're able to meld your outside life into it, and I think that's what a lot of people have that trouble, is melding their outside life, you know. And even now I see a lot of, you know, there's a lot of TikToks and videos and stuff where there's a lot of jokes and such with it still even going on. And like I said, this is, you know, as the community grows and grows and grows, it's going to be harder for people to ignore. And when it becomes harder to ignore, you're going to get a lot of pushback, especially from people that have disliked it in the past. Dislike is going to move to hate. Hate's going to move to anger, and then people are going to lash out and stuff like that. And that's what I want to try to prevent. And that's a major part of the FurrCast, is to be able to take, you know, find people like you who have moved in and out of the world and are able to find ways to meld both worlds smoothly without having to have any of that hate or, you know, distrust and stuff like that. And I'm glad that you guys were able to do it.
Yeah.
I think what's important,
go ahead.
at least. Oh, sorry about that.
Go ahead.
I think the most important part for me when I was stitching that server together was like, you don't tear everybody apart just because you wind up going into a hobby of sorts. That was probably my biggest fear, is like you'd lose friends, right? So what I wanted to do is just ensure that like, if you have folks that you're hanging out with, you have a way to hang out with everybody. And I think just having some kind of merge is good. Now, it may not necessarily mean that everybody hangs out with each other all at once, all the time. Like, that could be a perfect world, but to be honest, everybody has their own interests. And so you got places like Axel Server that are absolutely perfect for that kind of audience, because it will tailor to it and people will be able to be themselves in the best way possible. On the other side, you've got the Discord servers where I originate from. They still live over there and they do what they want, and that allows them to be themselves. But at least have some kind of middle ground to see what it's like to be able to merge between those two, and at least be able to communicate with everybody is, I think, absolutely crucial. To just say you're, first of all, not dead, but you want to be able to interact with as many people as you can.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was piggyback what he said about his friends knowing. So, you know, if you know what goes into making a fursuit or getting the steps to get a fursuit, you have to get a DTD, or a duct tape dummy, done. Well, of course, you know, I don't have any local friends that I knew that was, you know, was a fur. So I had, and before all this too, I'll go back a little further. We had this huge group, this is before COVID again. We had this huge group that played Magic the Gathering. And there's probably about 10, 15 of us. We would go to different tournaments. We would travel to different, you know, Ohio, Indy, down up to Pittsburgh to play these tournaments. And that's what I did before doing all this. So, you know, COVID hits, everything gets shut down pretty much. I start streaming, and then I was like, okay, I want to get a suit. And, you know, people say, well, you want to get a suit, just start with, you know, partial, just the head, the paws, the tail. I said, screw that. I'm going to get a full DedJoker bodysuit, just right off the bat. Like, just go. If I'm going, if I'm diving in, I'm going to go in all the way. Hey, Fender. Darius, hello. But yeah, so I need if you don't know the steps to making a duct tape dummy is that you need a painter's outfit and then a lot of duct tape, But you can't do it yourself. I mean, you're there, you're T-posing trying to get, you're sitting. Somebody else has to put the duct tape on, and no one else knew that I was doing this. I had a friend that was rooming with me. He was actually renting out one of my rooms at the time, and then he moved out. And I asked him, "Hey, can you help me with something real quick?" I asked him, and I said, "Yeah, I'm getting this suit done, but I need to get like pretty much like an outline of my my body." And he said, "Sure." And he came over. We got this we got the duct tape dummy done. He didn't question it at all. I mean, it just a true friend just came over, just did it. And then I've also got other friends that I played Magic with too. I still talk to on Discord. They didn't disown me. They didn't say what are you doing? This is. They didn't say bye. Just because you're a furry now. I still talk to them. I mean, I still interact with them on Discord. A lot of them have moved different states, but we still interact with each other. Even before all this started. So I'm, really grateful for that too. They haven't seen only one person's seen the suit, and they asked me, but nobody said why. That's the thing. They've never said why. Why are you doing this? They just accepted it, and we still talk, which is really, really, really nice. I actually had one of our friends. Six. All right, I will hydrate in a second. Six. We actually had one person.
Don't forget next week
for our when we used to play Destiny. He actually came into Slides. If you don't remember him.
Yep.
Yeah, he's one of the people I used to play Magic with, and he actually came. I think he's still in the server. It's probably it's probably muted, but he would when we needed help with raids, he would hop in. Again, he's a normie playing with 5 other furries. He didn't care. He was playing games. What's funny that every once in a while he would actually say my real name instead of my I have a furry name. Every once in a while, and he would apologize like, "Oh, I'm sorry. It's good. It's fine. You're used to it. It's okay." But yeah, it's I haven't had one friend that said bye because I'm doing this now. So it's been really nice.
That's good. And that's what we want. We want to be able to, be able to express ourselves. Now here's the question, and this is the age-old question. Do you think well, let me ask it this way. How do you think a relationship would go if they figured, or how would you start a relationship if you met somebody and told them about it? How would you think that would go? Your information on Discord says you're single, and so is it. So we know that you're single, Axel. But this question goes for both of you. If you met somebody, you both are gamers, you both stream, you're both furries. Some people don't, I've dated gamer girls before that weren't true gamer girls. I've dated people who, you would never want to play against them in World of Warcraft. But they weren't true gamers. Not like we are. But how would you guys react as far as, everybody else accepts the fact that you guys are furries and, you go to fur cons. How do you think your loved one, relationship-wise, how do you think that would go?
You want me to go first, or you want to?
I'm good with either. If you have something on your mind, then
Okay. I am. So I actually was. This is the same process when I was actually getting the fursuit. I was actually, it's not an actual relationship. We were talking back and forth, and I showed her the picture of the dummy and what I was wanting to do, and I don't know, her reaction wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. It was just, oh, it was like neutral. But yeah, it was a short, just a few dates every once in a while. But we're not longer. I won't say we were never together, but we never made it official or anything. It was just a few dates. Like we went to a soccer game, we went to this and that a few times, but there was really no connection there. But when I eventually I would do want to go, meet somebody, but I want to just lay it all out there. I don't want to hide anything. That's the last thing you want to do is you talk and talk and talk and have all these dates, and next thing you know, you start liking each other, more, getting closer to each other. Next thing you know, oh yeah, by the way, I'm a furry, and then they're gone, and you wasted all that time with them. So when I do finally meet somebody, I'm just going to say, hey, this is what I do, this is what I am. If you like it, cool. If you don't, okay, that's fine.
Well, Six has offered to be your wingman, so I think you're set.
I appreciate it, Six.
I suppose I could probably go next. I think when I think about just relationships in general, my first thought is I want to treat them as like any other friend, if that makes sense. So I would probably be going through a lot of the same processes as what I did when I wound up figuring out how to tell somebody I was a furry in general. It depends on like where that person is or who they are or what they do. Because if they're online, that's like one thing. They'll probably understand the furry culture a little bit more because they're internet savvy. If it's somebody just out there in IRL, that would be something where like you want to build that relationship rapport. That I just did business and personal adjectives at the same time. That does not make sense. So yeah, you want to make sure that you have a good trust with that person. I feel like by the time you wind up having that trust, my thought would be like, if they see that there's something like that, then you'd have that trust level where like, if it is controversial, then at the very least they would be open to listening what's going on. Because it depends on like, if you wind up having that deep enough relationship, I would assume at that point it's like, you've talked about so many different things at that point where it's you'd know how to gel and understand that person. So I've never been in like a relationship myself in that aspect, but when it comes to that, I would think, well, if somebody wound up seeing my hand paws in the back of my bed, which somebody did in IRL, then I gotta have an explanation. But if you know each other well enough, then I think the goal would be that you're able to explain it as well as you can in your own personal words, and that way that would be able to help convey to them something effective because they understand those words enough because you've been able to have that relationship. Otherwise, I mean, that's a big standard for me, is that people are able to communicate extremely well. I wouldn't just try to go to somebody random on the street and say, hey, you want to go date? That's not going to work. So yeah, you want to make sure that you have things locked in very well. So if that were to ever happen, I would just ensure that the relationship is extremely healthy before you even wind up having to have that conversation.
I definitely understand. Have you guys thought about the VRC dating app? That
I've heard
may be an option.
I've heard so many bad endings with VRC dating. Like, no.
Yeah. That was going to be the next question.
I've heard,
it.
it's no. I mean, it would have to be a rare thing. Like, they joined the Discord. We would talk. It would take a very long time to meet somebody in VR and make those connections to actually start doing that.
Yeah, it's really difficult especially when you got a long distance relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it really hard. And I do know that when it comes to VRC, you know, it's almost like having somebody there, but then it's not. Because, I
Right.
mean, you can only spend so long. I mean, when I first got on the VRC, I was in it for 8 to 10 hours a day. You know, because of the people that I used to hang out with. We lived on it. You know, but then when you hop off, that relationship and those people go away. You know, and then it becomes, you know, a hassle. So, I mean, but, yeah, I think,
And you gotta think
I think you
too.
guys are-
You know, VRC people can act one way, but then when you go to meet up, they can be a completely different person too. That's another thing. Which is
exactly.
why-
You know,
why
exactly.
I'm-
Like, I look fit, you know, in my VRC characters, and in real life, I'm a fat old man. You know, I like my furry avatars because this is the way I would like to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
All right, I will be right back. Of course, you know, right on cue, Roxy's barking, so
oh, of course,
gotta
take care of
go,
these furries.
gotta go let her. I'll be right back.
And he perfectly floats on the couch.
It's beautiful.
It is. I'm glad that you were able, and see, that's one of the things I've always worried about with the people around me is, you know, some people don't have like what you have, Kindle, is, you know, the being able to meld. Your family accepts you, which is excellent. And it seems like you got a good group of friends on the outside too, which is even better. You know, and that's even better. And I want that. I want that for other people. I wish it was like that for a lot of other people. You know, because like even for Axel's situation, he doesn't go into details, but people have a general idea.
Hmm.
You know, without having to say anything. You know, and that's, you know, this. My brain's all over the place.
Well, like that right there is the biggest thing that is going to like destroy the entire situation altogether. Is not having context. So when you say that, it sounds like a general assumption. Those things are
Yeah.
super dangerous.
Yep.
So you can go say that you're a furry. That's gonna mean 20 different things to 20 different people. So when I hear that, I think about just like if you were to go into a friend group and let's say you're not a mod or anything, you're just the Joe Schmo. That's scary because all of a sudden there's like a mob of people. What are they gonna think? So that can be a situation that's not good. So it's good to be able to like. It's scary, but for me at that point, despite being absolutely terrified, is you want to be that example at the very least to understand, help people understand what it's like, and just say, oh, they don't bite. That it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Back
like-
when I was younger. Go ahead.
I guess what I was just gonna say is that general assumption is dangerous. Just being able to be that example, or just being able to have a very easy transition and understanding what that is going to be absolutely crucial for anybody.
I agree. Well, when I was younger, you know how things go from like, you know, light and airy to gritty, or gritty to light and airy. I consider the furry community light and airy at this point. Because when I was younger, the furry community was, I guess, what you would call, as far as my understanding of it, from what I've seen, because when I was younger, I believed that I was part dragon. My favorite animal's always been dragon. I thought I had dragon blood. I thought I was a dragon wizard. You know, I was, you know, at some point, shape, or form, I was a dragon. You know, that's not technically a furry; it's a scaly, but it still fits in with the same community. But when I started to get older, when the early teens, when internet started to come out, because yes, I'm that old. And the internet started to become more prevalent. You got more of a stigma of furry being nothing but porn. There's the dark side or the gritty of furries. And then you add that to everybody starting to understand and see it, because the internet starts to grow and everybody sees it, and porn becomes more prevalent, and you got the stigma behind furries. So now you got the light and airy type of furries. So I can understand that, especially when it comes to parents, because I'm parent age. My oldest is 22, which is around the age.
You're showing your age.
Close to the age. Yeah, most of the people that we hang out with, or that is on VRC, between the ages of 20, or I should say 18. Well, let's take it back. 17 to, let's say, 32.
Right.
There are a lot of younger people than there are older people, like my old butt. So I can understand the stigma of the older people seeing the furry community as that dark and gritty thing still. And that's another thing too, is like when it comes to future of this FurrCast, we are actually I'm going to try to bring people on that show a little bit more of all the sides of the furry community. It's not just light and airy. There are different sides. There are some dark sides. There are, just like with anything else, there are several sides to every situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all, and that's everything that I wanted to bring out in this FurrCast, is bring everything out to light so people can get a newer understanding, create a new type of thought process on the whole situation, instead of just believing that it's this horrible thing, and it'll always be a horrible thing. So, and we are
another thing too,
just about coming up.
When people say, when they see furry, they immediately think 18 plus, all the bad stuff. And people that know, my streams aren't 18 plus. My streams are geared more to family friendly. You don't need to be vulgar and, do all that stuff and have fun and enjoy streaming, enjoying playing games, and laughter. And I think I'm one of the rare ones. I know Darius, same way. His streams are not 18 plus. His is family friendly, and you can have fun just watching him play. There's a few others that do, Kindle, family friendly stream. So you don't have to be 18 plus. You don't have to get, do that just because it's just have fun. I mean, you can be clean. You can, not have to use language. You don't have to use vulgar stuff to get viewers to have fun, to make content. You can just be yourself. Another thing too is people try to be this alternate person too when they're online as well, and you just be you, be genuine.
I try not to cuss so much. Sometimes it's really difficult.
Yeah, we know. We know.
That's the only reason why I put the 18 plus on mine, is because sometimes it slips out.
Right.
And the whole thought process behind, putting some of these on YouTube is I'm going to have to bleep a lot of stuff out if I let stuff slip. So I think I've actually been pretty good. I didn't cuss at all yet.
Yes.
But, yeah. I am enjoying the fact of the tail swishing around.
It's going to be hypnotizing. Just going back and forth.
It is. I'm enjoying it.
There's going to be like an ASMR segment. It's just like you're going to be in such awe that the tail is just going, oh, and then you hear like it's going to be headset ASMR where people are just adjusting their headsets, but it's actually just you staring at your tail.
Just enjoying it. Just enjoying it. Did you guys have it? We're coming up to the hour mark. Did you guys have any closing remarks or anything else that you'd like to add?
I don't know. Were you going to do a Q&A? I don't know if you were going to do that or not.
Oh, yes. Yes. Anybody on Axel stream? Are you streaming, Kindle? Anybody on Axel stream? I don't have Axel stream up at the moment. By all means, ask questions all day long. We can see you guys on my stream. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them.
Yeah, if you guys want to know more about me, more about Kindle, just go ahead and put them in the chats. I can look. You know, if you have want to know more about us, that's why we're here.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and put in the chat, and we'll try to answer them.
Wonderful beings. I'm definitely loving this tale.
Yeah, it's just well. See, this is why you finally got full body on, and see if you didn't have your full body on, you wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, I had to move, and I was telling Kindle earlier when you were trying to get reset.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved the thing over a couple feet, apparently one of the socket that it was plugged into was broken. I didn't realize it the last time we were in a VR.
So it wasn't.
The light box wasn't even working.
Oh, jeez.
So I had to move that today. I figured, I thought it was broken. I was like, oh my gosh, the thing hasn't even started yet, and I'm already having issues. But I had to move that.
I have it very easy because all I have to do is turn on my Connect, right? So I have a single button that just says Connect Checkers, and then it all just starts right there.
Hey, right.
Now, the con is if I do this. Well, that happens. So, not a full solution that will last you a long time. So, like, trackers might be a good investment someday.
Yeah, I've got 4 base stations in my room, one in each corner, and I'm sitting in my chair now. It'll still spaz out. Like, it does not like me sitting in my chair, especially when I play Beat Saber. I'll sit down, and it does not like it when I'm sitting down playing Beat Saber. It'll just spaz out like crazy. I don't know why.
That's because it's Beat Saber. You're not supposed to be sitting down.
Sorry.
Yeah, Axel, it's Beat Saber.
6 has a question. She said, "Why do you like the persona you have now? What stood out from the other animals for all of us?"
I'll let you guys answer first.
You want to start first this time?
I could. So the reason why I do like a cat, it was actually my very first exposure to like an anthropomorphic animal that actually looked really cuddly to me, and I wanted to give it a hug. So it was on a forum site for Toontown, right? So they were talking about how the game was shut down and all that. But they had
has checked into the silver.
They had like an image of a purple cat, and that looked very fluffy, and my brain was like, what's going on? This looks very cuddly. So it started with that, and that wound up just being the more favorable one from there.
And thank you for the
it was in
follow.
the back of my head. I was like really shy about it, but eventually I wound up trying to use a protogen in VR chat, because to me that seemed like one of those things where it's like, it's not a wolf and it's not like a reptile or anything like that. It's different. So I was like, okay, let's use that. So it kind of felt like for me a disguise, right? That didn't work. Everybody knew what a protogen was.
Yeah.
By that time, it was just more of a try to get into VR chat, see what it's like. And I liked the paws and all that because they looked very fluffy and very nice. But eventually I just sort of, as I wound up getting more comfortable in my skin, is actually 6. Do you hear me, 6? This is your fault. So this part is actually related to, she actually gave me a cat persona because I was opening up. And I was saying I liked cats a long time ago, And that wound up making me feel very, very comfortable because she was able to find me a cat avatar, and honestly, I really liked it. So it was her fault, but it's actually a really good thing, Six.
You hear that, Six? It's your
Really,
fault.
really good. I promise.
You're the reason.
It was since the beginning. It was since the beginning, and then she wound up making me feel very comfortable, so I greatly appreciate it, Six.
So I chose a wolf. I've always been fascinated by wolves. Just how they're in a pack. There's an alpha. There's a what's the word? There's a sequence. There's a
Beta.
yeah. There's my mind just went blank. There's function. It's a perfect like family. If you gotta think about it, each person has their own roles. But yeah, wolves have always just fascinated me. Every time that I would play a game, first thing I would look for was, is there a wolf avatar to use? And this is before I was even a furry, or even said I was. And which just wasn't a wolf either. Any game I played, I didn't want to be human. I wanted to be something other than a human. But yeah, it's really wrong. I chose a wolf. And then as far as the collars designs, I'm terrible at art. You will never see me do an art stream, and no, that's not going to be a thing on a charity event either. I will never do an art stream. I'm so bad at art. But I knew what the colors I wanted. I wanted a sort of some grayscale and some red, some black, and mixed in. And I found a site called, I guess y'all know it's For Affinity. Found that site, and I typed in avatars for sale, or what's the word? Personas that you can purchase. That people make and you can purchase. And so I'm scrolling through and looking at the different wolves and the designs, and I come across this design. It's like, that's me right there. And then I purchased it, got the rights to it, came up with my name. I added the shorts and the bandana. I did add that part. That part is me. Yeah, structure. There you go, Finray. And they've got a structure. Everybody has their own place. But yeah, that's how I became a wolf. Had this design, but yeah, that's pretty much it. The rest is history.
I was more into protos when I first start. Well, yeah, I was definitely more into protos. And I had, let's see, I had a proto, I had a Rex, because I was trying to keep up with Axel, and then I got a Tatum, because Tatums are just so cute and cuddly. I had them all in my Joker colors, and then I decided to rebrand, and my favorite colors are red and black, which
I keep saying he's copying me.
seems to meld with Axel quite well. So then this avatar came out, and I instantly fell in love, and I was like, I gotta have it. And then Crim made one for Axel, and then I was like, well, I gotta have the evil version of that. And as you can see, I got the evil version of that.
Hey, I mean,
and I absolutely love it. Yeah. Yes. Show them so they could see.
Oh. Ooh.
So, as you can see, he's the light side. Waiting for the stream to catch up. There we go. He's the light side, and I'm the evil dark side.
tail.
Yeah. And all you gotta do is just move slightly back and forth, and that tail will just be lovely. Fenrir had a question. His question was, let me, not freeze. Okay. His question was, what was the thought process or thing that made you want to have a more family-friendly stream besides your awesome personalities?
You mean start with that
Well,
one?
that one's like, sure, that one's like 100% clear to me. I
Mhm.
mean, for me, Fenrir, I've never swore like at all, at least intentionally. Okay, so I'll use this as an excuse to talk about my adventures with swearing. So, when I was little, all right, when you're little, you don't really know what words mean. Sometimes I would say a thing, and my mom would go, "Oh," and I would go, "Oh." And then I learn another word, and I go, and then my mom she freaks out again, and I go, wait, I really need to be responsible with that. So I wind up learning more words in the dictionary, and I learned them not to use them. So eventually, my brain started coming up with a game. I was like, what if I just never swore? All right. So once that happened, I was like, this could be interesting, because if you wind up using more words that are just not swear words, you wind up, I guess, for me at least, I was able to come up with a bigger vocabulary for things, but you wind up being able to make your message clear anyway if you're mad or anything like that. So for me, it's like more of a personality thing. I prefer not to use that, but also it's more of an interesting experiment for me, because the more that you use swear words, the more that you wind up having that exercise in your brain like a muscle. So I've never done it at all. So if somebody tells me to say the F-bomb, my brain's gonna have the hardest time trying to do that, and it's not gonna go. I promise you. I cannot say it, because my brain just knows you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've trained myself. I've never tried to do it in the first place, so it's therefore like not a kind of drug that I wound up getting started on. So with that being said, I feel like it's been able to help me, but also just grow my vocabulary, because I tease everybody. I grew up on Wikipedia when I was 10, so I learned how to read a lot of big words, and I wound up being able to regurgitate those words. So that's kind of just how it wound up being with my streams, and that's my personality in general. I prefer not to swear because it's a lot more sound and relaxing to me.
It's also, I think, the way you're brought up, raised as a kid too. My parents never swore, so I had no reason to. Even though you go up through middle school and high school and you hear all these kids swear and it's all that, I never did. The household, we didn't. So I was never brought up in that situation where I needed to swear, and that's how I am now. I mean, even IRL, I don't do it because I don't think to do it. People the more you use those words, the more it becomes the filter goes away, or it's just human nature to you to say those words. Some people, they can't help but say them because they've used them so much. But that's with me, where I've never even swore. Have I thought about it? Yes. I mean, who doesn't? You think about it.
Gosh.
But I don't do it. It's just not who I am. What I want to be. So when I came to the streams, why start now? Like I said, when it comes back to why do you need to be 18 plus to have a good stream? You don't need to be 18 plus for people to watch your streams.
Mm.
And then I know for a while I did have 18 plus on my streams just for people in the background, because every once in a while it'll slip for people. But now I just don't even put it on there anymore. Except for Lethal Company, I have been putting it on there because it's you all get scared so much. You guys get scared so much, and you just let it out.
Hey, look, I try not to scream when I get attacked, okay? It's not my fault. I can't help it. monsters try to eat me.
Which Saturday's stream I might need to play T Plus on there with the world we're going to.
Oh.
You know the world. That will happen.
What?
We were there a few days ago.
My brain went into like VR chat mode, and it's like my contacts is like swarmed with this, and now I don't remember.
It's the random things that happen randomly in the.
That one,
Yeah.
that. Oh my gosh. Okay, now I know why. Yep.
Yep. There will be some swearing from people in that world. There will be some jump scares.
In what world? I'm sorry, I was.
It's a surprise. It's a surprise for
in chat right quick.
It's a surprise for Saturday.
It's a surprise now. Surprise now that you don't remember it too.
Fender knows it. He was there with us. Six was with us too. They know what world we're going to.
Oh, on Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
I will probably most likely either be neck deep in a machine or in the process of driving 5 hours back from South Carolina at the time. So you guys have fun with that.
There's also another world I found too. I want to go to it probably after this just to test it out. 6 says, first impressions of meeting the gremlin pup. First impressions of meeting 6. I don't think you were that.
In hearing yours.
I don't think you were that crazy though when we first met you, 6. Was Moxie introduced to us? I can't remember when that was. It's like I have a bad memory of like when I met people. I've met so many different people throughout doing all this. Like I feel bad when they say, well, "Do you remember when I met you?" No. I'm sorry.
Yeah. and yeah, don't take offense to this, but as far as I'm concerned, you've always been a part of our group.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it comes to people who are within our group.
Nope.
I have
Fender that one.
like you've always been there. Like you just you're a natural part of the group, and you're with us. I can't remember the
Yeah,
whole
she said no,
meeting
not I
thing
was. She
either.
was shy the first time. Yeah, that's what I thought. You weren't really out and open when the first few times. Now you're just gremlin moding us all the time,
Yeah,
which is
People's
great.
ankles.
I do have a story for when I first met 6. I remember it very vividly, actually, because it was when you wanted to start doing the Family Feud streams, Axel. That was my first exposure to even being on a stream as well. I don't know if it was 6's, because she's been around there longer than I have, but my first time I heard or saw her come in, you come in and you say, "Come on in, nobody's streaming, it's okay." So she comes in and she's wearing like the chibi bunny robot.
Oh yeah,
eared thing. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that avatar.
I see her once or twice, and I find out that you're Grandpa Joker, and then I wound up just sort of seeing that in the background. And Moxie gives me an introduction, because Moxie and I were like really good friends, and to keep in mind, he was the guy who brought me into Axel's server. So at that time, we were like we like wound up talking way more often. So for the most part, I didn't know mostly everybody just yet. But when I got introduced to 6, I think we were talking about I think 6 wanted a hug or something, and Moxie goes, "I'm not really much of a hugger, but you need to hug this guy. This guy likes hugs." And then that wound up being our introduction. I was like, "Hi." So we go in and we hang out, and we wound up being really great friends since then.
Yeah, Roscoe. Joker's the grandpa in the group. We call him Grandpa Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we have,
the old man.
even though we have somebody older than you, and FurrCast's older than you, but we still call you.
Yeah, well, he's only older by a couple. Well, see, May 1st, I'll be 43. So
I think he's got you by Well, I don't want to say age. Is that he's I think
One
he's
or 2 years.
no.
older
I
than
think I think
am. Well,
I think it's more than that.
No, 2 or 3.
Is it?
No, he's 2 or 3 years. Yeah, 2 or 3 years older than I am.
6. I had a plan to make Kindle my child. It was in motion. Jeez.
Yeah, it was enforced.
Oh my gosh.
Anybody else have any other questions for us?
6.
We actually need to redo
What
that.
was the one I joined you on? Finry, are you talking
Yeah.
about the kitchen cooks when we met you?
I've been waiting for it. I thought we were gonna do it like before.
We need to redo that again. Because it's lots changed since last time we did it. A lot's changed.
People were forced in the family position since then.
Forced? What do you mean forced?
Well, people were forced into family positions. Like sons, like forced.
If you want to
also the
call it
fact-
that.
6 also manages to find children everywhere, so there's that too. We'll have to figure out where that.
Every time we talk, like, oh, I've got a new child. It's like, wait, what? What?
Yep, it's like every other day there was a new child.
Six.
By the way, Misfit's my new son, so I
really?
claim Misfit is my new son. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Favorite Ferality meetup, 6 says. Favorite one. I will say my first one was the superhero one. I forget what year that was. And I don't know. I got another little guess more about me too. Is that I'm very introverted, very, very introverted. So going to meet new people, especially in big groups, I don't do very well, even in VR. I put a lot of shields up, a lot of barriers up every time I got to meet new people. But as I get to know people, those barriers start to come down, and then you're just you. And so when we went to the Ferality, the superhero one, we went to these meetups, and I was so afraid to go up to people and just talk. Again, it's just barriers go up. But then when the next few ones came out, I think it was the Aqua one, I was a little more confident to go talk to the people. That's when we met some new people. But I think the Aqua one was probably my favorite one. Well, I don't know, because that one too, because the past one was good too, because we did the fireworks. The whole fireworks thing too was really nice, but we all got to sit with each other and watch that. That was a lot of fun too. This next one was in June. This next one, Ferality Umbra, is in June, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I need to sign up for that.
I don't know. I stopped paying attention to him. I think I only went to one, which was no, I went to 2. The only one I really paid attention to was the superhero one.
Mm-hmm.
I was super excited about that one.
No pun intended.
Yeah. That one, the lag was wonderful. Like, there was hardly any lag. I met a streamer that I watched and followed. She was an artist, and some of her avatars were just off the wall freaking cool. Because she designed her own avatars. I think I unfollowed her after that. But never meet
Wow.
your heroes, kids.
Wow. Dark ending.
No. I just no. It wasn't because of that. I ended up, because you mass follow people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, this one looks cool, or this one looks cool, and then you realize you're following 400 people, and
Right.
you're not watching any of them anymore. So then you just start cleaning them out.
Mm-hmm.
He was just happened to be one of them. But yeah, that was my favorite time, because I think I went to a couple of the meetups with you, and like I said, there was no lag at the time.
That's I still remember. I still
That,
remember
that
you.
fish one was horrible.
Yeah, I still remember you when you told me to. You kept on telling me just go talk to people. You were trying to get me to like no.
Yeah. I think that's when I only had like 1 or 2 avatars at the time. Yeah, that was like, wasn't that the first one? The hero one was the first one?
Well, they've had a few before that. But I think the hero one is when they actually started being more reoccurring more often.
Ah. Okay, yeah.
I could be wrong though, but
I don't know, that's the only one that I really remember that I thoroughly enjoyed. And after that fish one, the only thing I remember about that fish one, and I'm only going to call it that fish one, was because of the fact that you even turn to look at anything beautiful. And your frames, they
just
jump into the thousands. Yeah, and you can't see any. It's like taking pictures. That was the whole good thing about it. Was just
the world environment,
it was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty. You got to take pictures as you moved. That's all you could see.
Yeah. When you had when meetups would start up and you had 100 people try to go into a 20-person instance, and you couldn't.
Yeah.
You couldn't move. Like you had to just look straight. If I turn an inch, I'm gonna crash.
Yeah. And then at that point, I really didn't care to go to any more of them after that. It's all Endless's fault.
He was in here earlier. Another thing about too, being an introvert too. The first FurrCon I went to was AntherCon 2 years ago, and again I was extremely nervous. The first FurrCon go to, might as well go to one of the biggest ones ever. Right? Don't start small. That's how I've been. Like, I don't like. I just jump into everything, even though I'm an introvert. But that's where I met Rudy for the first time IRL. That's where I met Trex for the first time IRL. So they helped me a lot as far as being able to walk around the con in suit and just interact with people. But I was so nervous. I was still learning how to act in suit at the time. Too, the first time doing it. But as each con's gone on, I've gotten better, more comfortable in it. So yeah, you'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see this year. I'll be probably just running around like crazy in the suit.
Oh, I mean, as long as you don't, decide to have lunch a half an hour before.
Look, we don't need to talk about that, okay? That's we don't need to talk about that anymore, okay? I'm not gonna miss the flight. I'm not gonna miss the flight this time, okay? And no one needs a backstory either.
Are you sure now?
No, nobody needs a backstory either.
Yeah, I think we got. I think the only person that. I think with everybody's flights changing. I think that's gonna be. Oh, where'd my leg go? I think that's. I think Trex is the only one that's coming in the morning. So what I think I'll do is. Speaking about that, I'll drop off Trex and my sister, so I'll have more seats in the car.
Fenrir, I said no. I said no backstory on
registering.
that. No. Nobody needs to know why I missed. No.
What happened
No.
was-
No. Oh, no.
that, so Rudy and Axe. So I'm driving up, right? So I'm supposed to pick up. I was supposed to pick people up and bring them to the hotel from the airport. Okay. So I'm driving up to Atlanta, because I live an hour and a half away, and I get up there and I see Rudy, and because Xanther's not there yet, but I see Rudy and Trex. I meet them first. Well, Rudy and Axel were supposed to show up at the same time.
We're in the same state,
but
yeah.
somebody decided that they wanted to go ahead a half an hour before their flight was supposed to leave. Okay. Decided that they wanted to go ahead and sit in their car.
Look, okay,
eat
it's
lunch.
all right. Let me talk. Let me talk. Look. Last time I flew was in high school. That was like 10 years ago. I completely forgot that you had to be there.
Jesus.
No. I forgot that it was, you had to be there extra early to get on the plane and leave. The whole, checking your bags, the passport, and all. Again, it's been like 10 years since I did it. So I was actually there an hour early, but I was in my car. I was eating lunch, and it's okay. About 40 minutes, left. I started walking into the airport, and of course there was somebody there waiting, in front of me. They get done, and I tell them where I'm going to go, and it's a half an hour till it leaves. And they said, we can't let you board. It's too late to check your bags. What do you mean? They're boarding right now. You can't board. And I'm sitting there freaking out. I'm texting Rudy. It's like, I have an issue. I can't board. I'm too late. Yeah, I think Vinny, you've heard this before. So Rudy's freaking out because he's already on the plane. It's like, what do you mean to do? Let me get off. Tell him to get. No. It's like, Rudy, calm down. It's okay. Just go ahead and go on. There's another plane. There's another plane's gonna take off later on in the day. Just go on. Like, he was literally about to get off the plane, and wait. It's like, no, just go. So I had to sit at the airport for like another 2 hours, and wait for the next flight. And of course, I'm the one that's the hotel's name under, so they couldn't check into their hotel. So they were at the con.
Oh.
Yeah. What's made it worse? They were at the con with all their luggage and everything, and they couldn't do anything with it because they had to wait on me to get there. And since then, I've been like 2 hours early to the other flights I've been to. So I learned my lesson again. It was forever since I've flown. I forgot that you had to be there early, all that stuff. But yeah, it was a very good lesson to learn.
Yeah. But definitely this time.
Look, I think we leave
Make sure you get
around.
there on time.
I think we leave around 11. So, just eat. I'm just gonna eat like a late breakfast, and then we'll eat lunch when we get there at the hotel because they have a food court.
Yeah, and everything should still be open. I'm gonna need final times from everybody, like a week before, everything, before it starts, so that I can see.
Finner said he might
make
be
sure you
coming in
double
early.
check.
Yeah.
Yeah, double check, because like I said, Trex is coming in super early in the morning. I'll have my sister with. So if you come in early, then I can drop the three of you off, and at least you can register.
Well, I don't know where. I don't think
know when
register.
registry-
It doesn't up until like later. I don't think.
All
Once
right,
they get,
well,
because I don't know if you saw the app, don't you? To where you can see their schedules. They haven't released that yet. So as soon as they release that schedule, you can see when registration opens.
No, I don't have that app anymore.
Yeah, you might want to download it.
Re-get that.
You may want to download
Are
it
they
again.
using Sked like Anthrocon?
No, they have their own. They actually have their own app.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's nice.
All right, guys. We have come to the end of the FurrCast for this week. Thank you for everybody who has come to take a watch. Thank you, Axel and Kindle, for coming and speaking. It's absolutely wonderful. I love the fact that you guys came for the first one. And thank you for speaking with me. Next week we will have Finn Rear. Crim if he remembers, which I'll keep him.
You'll have to
throughout the week.
remind him like every day.
Yep.
Just ping him in Discord every day.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can get Derry also. But next week we will be talking about a different aspect of the furry community, which is the I don't want to call it mental instabilities, but I guess there's no nice way to call it, but yeah, mental instabilities in the furry community. The craziness that comes with people and all communities, but we have it in the furry community also. We will be talking about some of the things like DID, and other such things. And we will be finishing up that FurrCast with polyamorous relationships. One thing about the furry community is it gives FurrCast content. I can come into come on to VRC, spend some time with the furry community, and it gives me FurrCast shows to go ahead and have. So we're gonna go ahead and yes, it will be fun next week.
What?
It'll be.
Was this week not fun? Do we not have fun?
Oh,
We're not fun.
This was definitely
We're not
fun,
fun, Finner.
This was definitely fun. Next week will be a little bit more outspoken, but we will definitely dive a little bit deeper into a lot of the more interesting side of the furry community, and maybe the possibility of the week after that diving even deeper into an aspect of the furry community after that. But thank you, like I said, all for joining, and thank you guys for coming onto the show. Maybe in the future we will have a little mix-up with people and see how that turns out.
Different perspectives.
And you guys
maybe.
Yeah, that'd be quite interesting to have one or both of you on to see how that turns out to the darker side, the light versus the dark type of situation.
You're just making me think of the family feuds that we've had on Axel's stream where you wind up having opposites.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because you introduce people to certain aspects of a community, and then you go ahead and you have opposing sides,
Mm-hmm.
and then it makes for interesting concepts and communications. But thank you again, everybody, and everybody have a wonderful night.
Bye.